little bit of CFL stuff as we bring in Mike Richards. Producer Clark was on it, man. He was thinking. He gave Mike the long segment, which means I can now go for a sandwich. Mike Richards, go.
So is that sort of like when we used to be announcers on radio stations and you had to do your business, so you put on like the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Is this the category
Hotel
I find myself in?
Hotel California.
Well, if we start with the CFL, boy, oh boy, sometimes look, when you've followed it and been a part of it as long as we have, you always think to yourself, at least at one point, well, they won't make a mistake. I mean, we're not going to see any more blunders, are we? And then we get to the good ship Argonaut. And I'm like, guys, all you have to do is think about, as you go through history, you look at how people react in terms of what society finds acceptable or societal norms. So you figure that will dictate how you make your decisions. In this particular time that we find ourselves, the thought of any sort of domestic abuse, if there's anything that even smells of bullying, if you want to put it in a very simplistic way, but we simply as a society have no tolerance for it. And I understand it, which is why you have rules in all the professional sports leagues on what is acceptable and what is not, and almost 100% of it is not. And it's really in the he said, she said, that kind of stuff. And so poor Chad Kelly, whatever has gone on with him mentally, which I feel really bad about, has been an issue with him, and it seems like it's followed him in most places that he's gone, sadly. So when you have the situation that he's in now with the Argonaut, how in God's name does he show up at the practice facility and starts working out with the team? Now, I'm not saying he's guilty. This is not a condemnation on what I believe in terms of the legal sense, what has happened, because I don't know, because everything at this point is alleged. But even if it's that way, Rod, and I'm part of the Rod Pedersen show, and something similar to this goes on, it's a very easy decision for Clark and for you and for Moose. Yeah, Mike can't come on. We simply can't. Look, when this thing is over, I guess we'll make a decision. But in the meantime, you're not coming on the show. You can't come on the show. So how did he end up with some very smart people, and one of my favorite people on the planet, Pinball Clemens? I don't understand, Rod, how this could possibly get through. And someone thought, yeah, that's okay. Is Chad putting on his helmet? Is he coming on the field? Yeah. Well, that sounds good. That makes sense to me. No, it doesn't. I don't, for the life of me, Rod, understand.
I don't either, but there's just something that doesn't meet the eye that we don't know, obviously. But the thing is, Pinball didn't get stupid. I've known him as long as you, and I love him as much as you. He didn't get stupid overnight. There's more here than we know. And from a legal standpoint, it doesn't say he can't be here. And as Moose pointed out last week, when he does come back, you're going to want Chad Kelly having been on the field. He's suspended from games, not from practice. That's always a thing, right? And every situation's different.
Well, I'm simply saying that there are things that you put into your legalese as a league, as a team, but then there's just simply what people, and of course you can look, not that the internet is the end all and be all, and that should be gospel, but it does give you a sense of the temperature of the room. And if someone said to me, do you think Chad should be on the field? Just like, should Mike Richards be on your show? Should something be that controversial? Then I have to expect that Clark's going to text me and say, until this is done, you can't be on the show. We love having you on the show. Let's say the ratings are huge when I come on. It's a real needle changer. That's fine. But I can't risk you and all that are involved in the show and the sponsors and the viewership, because at some point it does get cleaned up. We'll find out one way or the other. I hope it works out for both parties, because I hate to see this kind of stuff, and I love the CFL, but my God, it just seems like we cannot get away from certain things that seem getawayable, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, but the other offshoot of this Our question in hour one was, how catastrophic is this for the CFL? I'll say it. It's not going to stop me from watching games. Chad Kelly
No,
or not
it's not.
Chad Kelly. I don't care. League's been
Yeah,
around. Yeah. Is it catastrophic?
no, no, it's not catastrophic. But I always look at it this way. It's sort of like when you talk to coach, and let's say there's an instance with players and maybe breaking curfew or going out. What good thing ever happened after midnight? What value sneaking out or doing something that you think you might get away with? What's the value in it? The fact is that there isn't. So it's not going to sink the team. It may not even sink a guy's career. But I'm like, why take the bullets? Now, and keep in mind, Toronto as a CFL city is always going to be barely floatable. Because this is a terrible football market. Sorry, Toronto, but it's just not a football market. I mean, they get more tangled into, as the saga as the Leafs fall. In this episode, the Toronto Maple Leafs have found themselves losing yet another playoff series. June, where I know. I've seen the show. The show ends the same way every time. I mean, what time? I mean, if you went to sequels of movies and the movie ended up, they said, yeah, but the ending's the same every time. Like, why would I go and see another episode of the sequel for this movie? Because they're all the same. And guess what? It will continue to be
Because you do.
Look, unless the next coach is Gandalf, I'm pretty sure they're not winning.
Were you a Victor or Jack guy?
No. What, are you talking about? Are you seriously asking me that question? I'm the only person in the history of this world who Victor Newman is a regular guest on our show and has been for almost 25 years. He's been on the show. Eric Braden has been on the show.
What's Victor think of the Leafs? What's Victor think of the Leafs?
Let me tell you something right now. If you could stop talking for 1 second, I will get to you in a moment. But if you look at this goddamn disaster, I'll tell you something. The reason the Leafs are failing is because of Jack Abbott. You got that? And you got to understand me. You need a coach who understands how to win. And clearly they do not. And until they do that, Victor Newman is not going to buy that damn team. You got that? I'm Victor Newman.
How about that? Approved.
Right off the cuff. I love it. It's good. Oh, I feel like there's a story there that I want to dig into, but not right now. They're talking about hey, it took 3 games into round 2 for all hang to break loose with NHL officiating. It's longer than I thought it would.
Well, it's funny. We were talking about the other day in the backyard about the NHL in general and about its entertainment value. And, they're almost a victim of kind of how good the league is. I think that the NHL is probably the most competitive league in the world. Now, before everyone gets upset and starts burning, hey, you don't watch enough. I watch every league, and I appreciate every league. But I have an idea most nights on who I believe is going to win. I can't say that about the NHL, and I'm going to be honest. From the best team to the worst team, if they don't give it on that night, the best team in the world will lose to technically the worst team. But the differential now between all those teams is so small. So then when you get to the officiating, I think there's more pressure simply because of the way we see officiating with replays, we're talking minuscule, just like such small line. In the 70s, unless literally you snap your stick in 2 and take it and stab it in the heart like the guy is Vlad the ice. I'm pretty sure you could shoot a guy, and that might only be 2 minutes. Now, I just find that because of how we see officiating in its most minuscule ways, that I think it's almost like it's doomed to failure. I don't. How are you going to officiate this game that moves at 100 miles an hour? These guys literally make no mistakes, and they don't look as hardwired as they are. We both know that if you compare it to the 70s, the 80s, maybe even parts of the 90s, that those guys had some attitude and some meanness to them. Quite frankly, they're a much more disciplined group of athletes, right? They don't make many mistakes. So when I see people getting upset about officiating, I'm like, yeah, of course. Like I always expect in this particular game that it's going to fail at some point. I think they're just destined to fail only because of the nature of this game. I think it's the fastest game in the world. It's not my favorite sport. Like, it's not because of the fact that I'm watching guys dump and chase for 3 hours. There's a burn factor for me now.
Yeah. But football is your favorite, right? Football is your favorite, right?
Football and basketball. Football and basketball are my two favorites.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So but it's not even about, because they got 37 cameras with super slow-mo and HD. So if you miss something, at least you got 89 ways to look at it. Like, for instance, Sam Bennett giving Brad Marchand the business. How do you miss that? How do you miss that?
I don't know, because you do see it in other sports too. The NFL takes, like, as soon as you see the challenge flag come out and they go, I'm like, oh my God. Now here comes another 15 minutes we're not getting back. Ruins the flow of the game. Same thing happens in the NBA, where it looks like clearly something happened, and then they come back and, is it a flagrant one? Is it to me, as I said, the sportsmanship and understanding of how sport was played, because of technology, it has changed, to me, the essence of what sport was, which is, you and I both agree that there's Stan and he's the official. Sometimes he's game anyway. Well, that's impossible now. You can't play it that way, because it's not played that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but what are we going to do? I don't want to sit here, the two of us, and it ain't like it used to be. We kind of got to get with it. Like, I was watching the 1972 Grey Cup in Hamilton. Perhaps you were there. First touchdown of the game for Hamilton was out of bounds. I'm watching it 40 years later going, hey. That was the golden age, man.
I do that all the time. And of course, no, I was not there but that's when I started going to football games as a kid to Iverwin Stadium. And of course, you're talking 71, 72. I mean, this is Angela Mosca. This is, Garney Henley. This is the era of, and Chuck Ely, who was my first, hero in sport. Chuck Ely, I got a chance to meet him as an adult, but I still acted like I was 8 years old. I couldn't contain myself. And look, if we're getting onto that track about the CFL, and again, I'm looking forward to this thing. I all year, just like a lot of CFL fans, you sit there, you wait and wait, and I'm still excited every time it comes around. It's still the thing for me in my family that we cannot wait to see it. I hope to get to some stadiums that I haven't been to before. I've not been to the new Winnipeg Stadium. Awesome. It looks fantastic. I have not been, obviously, to the new building in Saskatchewan. I haven't been to Regina to see it.
Pretty good.
But this is going to be the summer that I really want to get out. And if I can go coast to coast and hit all the stadiums, I'm going to do it.
Well, dude, I'm going to be back for the summer. And, boy, we could do a great show together, This is what I found out over the weekend. New Orleans hotels for Super Bowl are like minimum. A flea bag is $1,100 a night. A flea bag. Others are like $10,000. So I looked up renting an RV. This is like next February. CruiseAmerica.com. $160 a night. Yahoo. It's like 12 hours from here. Not a big deal. Yeah. Not sure if you want to join, but I'm going to get the extra long one. It'll sleep 7. And as of now, it's just me. So if you want to come down to Super Bowl, Mike, and then maybe, we can do a CFL tour. I haven't figured that out yet. But it's very reasonable to do. Rent an RV.
Here's a New Orleans CFL story. And, of course, done in typical disgusting Mike Richards elements. It's not for everybody. So when I go to New Orleans, it's either get me at the end of like 3 days, get me to a morgue or a hospital or on a plane. But I can't do more than 3 days because it's a burn of evil disgustingness for 3 days. There's no sleeping. I get into some terrible situations. I should have been dead many times over. And here's one of them. After visiting a certain club in the wee hours of the morning, because they stay open forever. And so I'm in the back and I'm thinking I'm all tidy, nice and neat. This is back in the days where going to the gym. I'm going to like tanning salons. Like, it's just full chachi.
Looking good.
Sleazeball, douchebag, complete douchebag day. And so I go there, and I've got my little Filofax, the little man purse. So I'm walking to this one place, and where do I go? The back alleys. Well, who wouldn't at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning? That seems like a good thing to do. So I go walking out there, and this young man is out there. And he says, give me some money. And I give him my typical response, which I can't say on this particular show. And he goes, come on, man, at least buy me a beer. I said, you're getting nothing from me. He goes, I was in the war. Yeah, what one? He has to think about it a little bit. I said, that's what I thought. Start
Smart.
walking. He goes, don't walk away from me. He goes, no, hold on. Just buy me something. I go, no, buddy. Look, hey, we're all. He goes, where are you from? I said, I'm from Toronto. He goes, Canada? Yeah. I played in the CFL. Now, that part I believe. That's the first honest thing.
Not shocked. Still with you.
So
Still with you here.
Yeah. I turned around and said, what team? He thinks about it for a second and then says something like, the Cardinal. Yeah. That's what I thought. He followed me for about another. He could have done many, many things to me. The worst part, the Kitchener Cardinals? I don't know what that had been, but I should. In New Orleans, I really take my chances, and I probably shouldn't.
You come with me, and you'll be safe. Trust me. Safe. Safety is me. Okay, Mike, we got to run. Thanks for all of this, man. It's been fun. And Victor, too.
I have one message. If you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, I'm sorry that you thought J.J. McCarthy is the answer to your problem. He is not. See, I like to have quarterbacks who do something, what's it called again? Pass the ball. So good luck with all that. I feel sorry for my Vikings fans, but this is, mark me, not going to work. It will not work.
I guess the natty's not enough for you. Bye, Mike. We got to go. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.